To see someone's true character, notice only three things: how they treat those who can do nothing for them, how they handle themselves when things don't go their way, and how they carry responsibility. Today, we're exploring one of Carl Jung's most insightful observations about human character, a simple yet profound framework for understanding who someone truly is beneath the surface. We live in a world where first impressions often deceive us. We judge people by their social media presence, their achievements, their status, their appearance. But Jung, one of the 20th century's most influential psychologists, suggested that to truly understand someone's character, we need only observe three specific situations. This deceptively simple idea cuts through the noise and directs our attention to the moments that matter most, the moments when our true nature is revealed, whether we intend it or not. The mask we wear. Before we dive into Jung's three observations, it's worth understanding why this perspective is so valuable. Jung introduced the concept of the persona, the mask or social face we present to the world. He wrote, "The persona is that which in reality one is not, but which oneself as well as others think one is." We all wear these masks. They help us navigate social situations, conform to cultural expectations, and sometimes protect our deeper selves from vulnerability. But Jung was interested in what lies beneath, the authentic self that emerges when the mask slips or is removed. In today's hyper-connected world, our personas have become increasingly complex and carefully curated. Social media allows us to present highly selective versions of ourselves. Professional environments reward certain personality traits while discouraging others. We've become experts at image management, yet there are moments when the mask falls away, moments when we're caught off guard, when we're tested, when we're faced with choices that reveal our true priorities and values. According to Jung, these moments typically fall into three categories. The first revelation: how we treat those who can do nothing for us. The first window into someone's true character is how they treat people who can offer them nothing in return. Those who have no power, status, or resources to benefit them. Jung understood that much of human behavior is transactional. We're often kind and accommodating to those who can help us advance our goals or enhance our status. But how do we act when there's nothing to gain? This is where true character emerges. Consider the executive who charms clients and flatters superiors, but speaks dismissively to service staff, or the person who's attentive and engaged when talking to someone influential, but checks their phone and offers only half-hearted responses when speaking with someone ordinary. Jung wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." This transformation, this authentic human connection, is only possible when we recognize the inherent value in each person, regardless of what they can do for us. Think about your own experiences. Haven't the people who've made the deepest impression on you been those who treated you with genuine respect and kindness before they knew anything about what you could offer them? And haven't you seen through those who suddenly became interested in you only after learning about your connections or achievements? I remember watching my friend interact with a homeless man outside a cafe. While most people hurried past with averted eyes, she stopped, introduced herself, asked his name, and spoke with him for several minutes. She bought him a meal, but more importantly, she treated him with the same respect and attention she would give anyone else. That moment revealed more about her character than any accomplishment on her resume ever could. Jung observed, "Where love reigns, there is no will to power, and where the will to power is paramount, love is lacking." How we treat those who can give us nothing in return reveals whether we're motivated by genuine compassion or by the will to power and self-interest. The second revelation: how we handle ourselves. When things don't go our way, The second window into character is how someone behaves when facing adversity, disappointment, or frustration. Anyone can be pleasant and reasonable when everything is going well. But what happens when plans fall apart, expectations are shattered, or we simply don't get what we want? Jung wrote, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." This choice, how we respond to difficulty, is where character truly emerges. Do we blame others? Do we lash out? Do we sink into self-pity? Or do we accept reality, adapt, and move forward with dignity and purpose? Think about it. We've all known people who become completely different individuals when they're frustrated. The normally charming colleague who becomes manipulative when denied a promotion. The friend who's supportive until you disagree with them, at which point they become cold or hostile. The family member who's the life of the party until something disrupts their plans, revealing a temperamental side you barely recognize. Jung understood that our response to disappointment reveals our relationship with control and our capacity for acceptance. He noted, "We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses." I once witnessed a flight cancellation at an airport. While most passengers reacted with predictable frustration, some berating the airline staff, others complaining loudly to anyone who would listen, one traveler stood out. Despite having an important meeting the next day, she calmly worked with the staff to find alternatives, thanked them for their efforts, and then settled into a corner with her laptop to notify affected parties and adjust her plans. No drama, no blame, just practical problem solving and adaptation. That moment revealed something fundamental about her character, a capacity for acceptance that left her energy available for constructive action rather than wasteful resistance. Or consider how people respond to criticism. Some become defensive, others seek revenge. While those with strong character listen, consider what might be valid, and use it as an opportunity for growth. Jung observed, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. This ability to turn adversity into self-knowledge is a hallmark of deep character." The third revelation, how we carry responsibility. The third window into character is how someone handles responsibility, both the responsibilities they've chosen and those thrust upon them by circumstance. Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Part of becoming our true selves involves recognizing and accepting our responsibilities to ourselves, to others, and to the world around us. Do we honor our commitments even when they become difficult or inconvenient? Do we take ownership of our mistakes and their consequences? Do we step up when others depend on us, or do we find ways to evade our duties?" I once knew a team leader who, when a project went wrong, immediately stepped forward to accept responsibility to upper management, even though the failure wasn't primarily his fault. Later, in private with his team, he worked through what each person, including himself, could have done differently. He didn't throw anyone under the bus, nor did he pretend the failure didn't matter. He carried the responsibility with integrity and used it as an opportunity for collective growth. Jung understood that how we relate to responsibility reveals our maturity and moral development. He noted, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases." This recognition that responsibilities must be carried individually and authentically, not according to rigid external standards, marks true character development. Consider how people respond when they make mistakes. Some deny, some blame, some make excuses, but those with developed character acknowledge their errors, make amends where possible, learn the lesson, and move forward. As Jung said, "Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also." Or think about how people handle success. Do they claim all the credit, or do they acknowledge those who contributed? Do they use their position to help others rise, or do they pull the ladder up behind them? The way we handle the responsibility that comes with privilege and achievement speaks volumes about our character. When all three align, the true power of Jung's framework emerges when we observe all three aspects in the same person. Someone might treat service workers with respect, the first criterion, but fall apart when faced with adversity, the second criterion. Another might handle setbacks with grace, the second criterion, but consistently shirk responsibility, the third criterion. It's when all three align. When someone consistently treats others with dignity, regardless of their status, handles setbacks with equanimity, and carries responsibility with integrity, that we glimpse true character depth. Jung wrote, "The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown." This process of outgrowing our limited selves, developing our character through conscious choice and consistent action, is the work of a lifetime. Jung's framework provides a powerful lens for understanding others. Its greatest value may lie in self-reflection. Looking at ourselves through these three windows can reveal uncomfortable truths about our own character. How do I treat people who can do nothing for me? Am I consistently kind and respectful to service workers, to the elderly, to children, to those society often overlooks? Or does my attention and courtesy flow primarily toward those who can benefit me in some way? How do I handle myself when things don't go my way? Do I become the worst version of myself when frustrated or disappointed? Do I blame others, lash out, or retreat into self-pity? Or can I accept reality, adapt my plans, and move forward constructively? How do I carry responsibility? Do I honor my commitments, even when they become inconvenient? Do I own my mistakes and their consequences? Do I step up when others depend on me? Or do I look for ways to avoid accountability? Jung believed that true psychological growth requires honest self-examination. He wrote, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." This awakening, this honest recognition of our own character strengths and weaknesses, is essential for growth. Jung noted, "We cannot change anything until we accept it." Once we see ourselves clearly through these three windows, we can begin the work of authentic character development. Character in a disconnected world. Jung's framework feels particularly relevant in our current era. We live in a time when technology often separates us from direct human interaction, when social media encourages performance rather than authenticity, and when political and cultural polarization makes it easy to dehumanize those who differ from who's in such a climate. Returning to these fundamental observations about character can be grounding. They remind us that beneath our differences, our personas, and our carefully curated online presences, we reveal ourselves through these same basic patterns of behavior. How we treat those who can do nothing for us, how we handle ourselves when things don't go our way, and how we carry responsibility. Jung understood that individuation, the process of becoming one's true self, requires both self-awareness and authentic connection with others. He wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." This transformation is only possible when we move beyond the superficial, when we allow ourselves to be seen and to truly see others. And as Jung suggests, sometimes the clearest view comes not from extensive analysis or prolonged acquaintance, but from careful observation of just three specific situations: character versus reputation. There's an important distinction to make between character and reputation. Reputation is what others think about us. Character is who we truly are. Warren Buffett famously said, "It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it." Character, however, is built and revealed moment by moment through our choices and actions. Jung understood this distinction. He wrote, "We do not mature through good intentions alone, but through those deeds of maturity that form character." Character isn't what we intend to do or how we want to be seen. It's what we actually do, especially in challenging moments. Consider how social media has magnified our focus on reputation management. We carefully curate our online personas, showing only what we want others to see. But character exists beneath these curated images. It's revealed in those unguarded moments, when the server brings the wrong order, when our flight is delayed, when someone depends on us to follow through on a promise. As Jung noted, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." This gap between our words and our actions, between our intentions and our behavior, is where character assessment becomes most revealing. The development of character. If we accept Jung's framework for seeing character clearly, the natural next question is, how do we develop good character? Jung believed that character development is integrally connected to what he called the individuation process, becoming the person we are meant to be rather than merely conforming to social expectations. He wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This process involves several key elements. First, self-awareness. Jung emphasized, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Developing character begins with honestly seeing ourselves, our patterns, our shadows, our strengths, and our weaknesses. Second, conscious choice. Once we see ourselves clearly, we can begin making deliberate choices about who we want to become. Jung noted, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Each time we choose integrity over convenience, compassion over indifference, or responsibility over evasion, we shape our character. Third, consistency. Character isn't built through occasional noble actions, but through consistent patterns of behavior. As Jung observed, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." It's the accumulation of our choices over time that forms who we are. Fourth, integration of the shadow. Jung believed we all have a shadow, aspects of ourselves that we deny or repress. He wrote, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." Developing character requires acknowledging and integrating these darker aspects rather than projecting them onto others. Fifth, authenticity. Jung emphasized that true character development isn't about conforming to external standards, but about becoming authentically ourselves. He noted, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases." This developmental process isn't easy. It requires courage, honesty, and often discomfort. As Jung wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." But the alternative, living unconsciously, reacting rather than choosing, wearing masks rather than developing authentic character, leads to what Jung called a life not worth living. The ripple effect of character, the impact of character extends far beyond the individual. Jung understood that our individual development affects everyone around us. He wrote, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you do not know, the world will tell you." When we develop strong character, treating all people with dignity, handling adversity with grace, and carrying responsibility with integrity, we create ripples that influence our families, workplaces, communities, and beyond. Think about the people of strong character you've known personally. Haven't they influenced you, inspired you, shaped your own values and behavior? Character has a contagious quality, not through preaching or demanding, but through quiet example. Jung noted, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Yet this acceptance, this integration of all aspects of ourselves into a coherent, authentic character, is what enables us to have the most positive impact on others. The simplicity of Truth Jung's framework for seeing character clearly reminds us that sometimes the most profound truths are also the simplest. In the world of complexity, these three observations cut through the noise and direct our attention to what matters most. How do they treat those who can do nothing for them? How do they handle themselves when things don't go their way? How do they carry responsibility? These questions have guided character assessment across cultures and throughout history because they reveal something fundamental about human nature. They show us not who someone pretends to be, but who they truly are at their core. As we close, I invite you to consider these three windows not just as tools for understanding others, but as mirrors for understanding yourself. For as Jung reminds, just everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Thank you for joining me in exploring this profound insight from one of psychology's greatest minds. Remember, in a world of masks and personas, true character always reveals itself if we know where to look. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung.